Welcome to Speaking of That, where communicating with youth becomes an art. With over 46 combined years of experience, my daughter and I share what we learned about connecting with youth through laughter, learning, and especially heart. And along the way, you'll discover why your story matters.
Hi guys, my name's Dahlia Lozano and welcome to Speaking of That. This segment is between the mics where we give you just a little idea of what day-to-day life is like as a speaker, navigating the airports, the schools, all the day-to-days of the travel and things like that. We've got two topics coming up for you today, but real quick, I just want to say this podcast is not sponsored, but I do want to plug our program, Youth Speaker Blueprint. Now, what the Youth Speaker Blueprint is it is a program that takes people from feeling like, I'm not sure if I have a story, I think I do, but I don't know, all the way through to having a full presentation. Helps them figure out which stories they can use, how to connect it to a message that's close to their heart, and then adds in all the tips and tricks that are proven to work. Engagers, reading your audience, body language, how to find the things that really work for you as a speaker. And so that's what I love most about the Youth Speaker Blueprint is it's your stories, it's your passion, it's your excitement, it's your history, just with tips and tricks that are proven to work and things that you can walk away with and keep refining your presentation again and again and again. So if you think that maybe you have a story you want to share or you feel like you have a message that you really want to get out there, right, but you're not sure, check out the Youth Speaker Blueprint. It might be the program that helps you tell your story because your story matters. It needs to be told. And it's easiest to do that when you're communicating in a way that people can understand. All right. Like I said, today we've got two topics coming up for you. First thing we're talking about today is the rental car upgrade that I did not ask for, but changed my life, or at least changed that trip. Now, one of the things about life on the road is there are always twists and turns. You can prep as much as you want. You can, pack exactly perfect and cover every worst case scenario. And more than likely, something is going to still happen that's unexpected. Now, one thing I struggle with is switching suitcases. I know this is something a lot of my other speaker friends have dealt with as well, where you have that one suitcase that works. And then either you're going from a season where you're always, just doing a carry-on. Now it's winter, so you got to check your bag. Or things like that, and you end up switching bags, and then you're just like, where are my things? Did I forget this? Did I forget that? And that is one of the worst feelings in traveling. I remember one time I had switched from having all of, just usually carrying just a couple of carry-ons, like a bag and a suitcase, to I was gonna start checking my bags. So I, had my bigger suitcase, I'm packing, and then what I didn't think of was because I was so used to having two carry-ons, when I packed my checked bag, I didn't think to make sure I had everything I needed in my carry-on. Long story short, I get through TSA and I realize I left my phone charger in my checked bag. Not a big deal. Flight's not too long, right? That's why hopefully we try to remember to charge your phone the night before and all that stuff. So I get there, I'm still kind of feeling like, ooh man, if I left my phone charger in there, I hope I didn't forget anything else. I'm mentally making sure I have everything for the presentation and all of that. And so when I land, I'm kind of like, I hope, my phone makes it. I hope this, I hope that, I hope everything works out. I'm kind of thinking, kind of stressing. And when I finally find where the rental car place was, I get there, I got a million things on my mind, and the guy gets this look on his face, like something's kind of wrong. And I'm like, oh man, I hope nothing goes wrong because this trip has already started off kind of on a weird foot. And he looks at me and he goes, well, we gave away your reservation. All right. And then he tells me, he goes, but we're actually gonna upgrade you. And I was like, whoa, that is awesome. And so it's, I love when those little unexpected things kind of happen. And so I was like, hey, I'm not going to complain about that. Well, when I got to the car, it had the exact plug, the, USB-C, because every now and then you'll get in the car and you're like, it doesn't have the plug that I need, which is another fun thing about rental cars and traveling. And so it had the plug that I needed. And man, this car was nice. Rental cars are super fun because sometimes they're, really top of the line. Sometimes you get those cars that you're like, I cannot wait for this trip to be over just so I don't have to drive this car anymore. And so it's really fun to see all the variety, but this car, seats were comfy, seat warmer and cooler. It had like the screen where, your phone is on the screen, you can see everything right there, and it was just perfect car. And so as I was driving to the hotel, I was just thinking, man, I was so worried about all these things. What if I forgot something? What if I don't have my charger? What if this? What if that? And I realized that none of those things materialized. And when he told me that not only was everything okay, but I actually had gotten an upgrade, I realized that sometimes, we worry and we worry, and then nothing happens. And it kind of felt like a moment where, the universe was kind of like, hey, not only did you not need to worry, but here's a little bonus also. So I think it's just like when you're on the road, you got to pack and prepare, and you got to make sure you have everything, and you're going to end up doing all that stress and stuff where you're like, I hope I have this, I hope I have that. And in the end, the key thing to remember is stuff is always going to go sideways. Not always, but be ready for stuff to go sideways. Pack and prepare, and then if things do go sideways, you'll figure it out. And the cool thing is then sometimes you get a little bonus. And then the presentations that week ended up being fantastic. That car being super comfy. That trip actually, little side story, but that trip actually ended up being one where we had a long drive in between presentations. And so it would be like one presentation, then we'd drive 45 minutes to another presentation, drive 45 minutes to another presentation. The next day we were in the car like a few hours. And so it actually ended up being really, really nice that we had that rental car upgrade, because then we had a comfy car to be in, which just makes everything way smoother. So when you're on the road, there's going to be ups and downs, but pack and prepare and do all your before stuff. So, just like with anything in life, you got to plan, you got to prepare, and then you can let the surprises be part of the experience. That's the great thing about being a public speaker. Every presentation is a little bit different, every flight's a little bit different, every hotel's a little bit different. And so that's the fun thing. If you really like that variety in life, public speaking is definitely a fun way to get that for sure. But yeah, rental car upgrades, some are good, some are bad. They're all fun. All right, the next thing we're talking about is the time you picked a hotel based on the pool and it ended up teaching you something about rest. Ooh, that is a good one. Yeah, I have been to a lot of different hotels that have a lot of different pools, and definitely the pool section and the gym section are places where hotels are not created equal for sure. Now with traveling, whether you're traveling as a speaker or any other profession, there are always going to be things you specifically look for. You're going to hope that there's, great restaurants. You're going to want some kind of maybe a Walmart or 7-Eleven, some kind of late night store for incidentals. And something that is definitely on the top of my, I hope they have it, list is a hot tub. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a story about a time where a hot tub was not only the top of my hope list, but the top of my need list. Now, before Alex and I were dating, I really had no idea about the MMA world at all. So getting to learn everything immediately from a professional level has been an incredible experience. A lot of new information all at once. And one thing I really was not ready for was how intense the week right before a fight would be, especially when it comes to weight cutting. Now for this fight specifically, he had to cut 20 pounds like in a number of hours before the fight. And the key to that was a hot tub. Now I'm gonna put a real quick disclaimer right here. When an MMA fighter is cutting weight for a fight, it's really different than like a regular person losing weight, which is the area that I have a lot of expertise in. And so just, everything is monitored with professionals, and they have a whole team of people. So cutting weight, really different, but when an MMA fighter does it, they have a whole team of people. It's really safe, everybody's monitoring them, so very different. Just wanted to add that disclaimer. So when you're at that like travel excitement stage, the stage in between the airport and the hotel, one of my favorite parts for sure, when you're driving to the hotel and you're like, I wonder what it's gonna look like, right? Are there gonna be not hotels, are there gonna be restaurants nearby, walking distance? Is the hotel gonna have like any kind of view, and just all of that potential excitement, right? Well, when we got to this hotel, it was in a tiny, tiny, tiny town in Montana. I'm talking so small that like after weigh-ins, our food options were basically Chili's or a little mom and pop taco shop that when we got up to and looked through the windows, the door was locked, and inside it was like 4 chairs and like a bucket of paint. So yeah, they were closed down, but tiny, tiny, tiny town. We get to the hotel, no bathtub, no hot tub. We call around and we find that we get to the hotel, no bathtub, no hot tub. We're like, ooh, I don't know what to do. We look around, there's 2 other hotels nearby. I call the first one, their hot tub's down for maintenance. I call the other one, they say their hot tub is working. Now, at this point, it's like 7 at night. And so we're scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. I didn't want to ask the woman who answered the phone anything over the phone, so we go over there. It's about a half a block walk, so not too bad, but it was Montana cold, and I am from Nevada, originally from Southern California, so not accustomed to the cold. But we get there and I realize I gotta put on that public speaker charm. I'm connecting with her emotionally, right? I'm doing all of that. I'm really trying to engage with her, and I'm explaining what we need in a really clear way. And she's sympathetic to our cause, and she lets us use her hot tub. It was such an incredible thing to see, just the dedication. And that's one of the really cool things about this job, is just getting to see all the different things that really get people excited about life. The ways that people choose to use their dedication and their passion, and all of that is just incredible to see. So we were there probably from 9 at night till almost 2 in the morning when we left. Now, in that time when he was doing all of his weight cut stuff, I ended up talking to the lady that, was working at the front desk, the young lady, and she was just at that stage in life where she had graduated high school about a year before. And so she was starting to let go of some of her like childhood hobbies and starting to figure out what she wanted to do as an adult. Very exciting time in life. She told me about her younger cousin who was struggling with some of the issues that we talk about in our presentations. And so it ended up being a really cool opportunity where I got to talk with her, kind of give her some advice on her situation, and then kind of help her understand how to connect with her cousin on a deeper level, how to connect with her cousin in a way where her cousin will be able to hear her and not to where it ends up turning into a fight, which was what was happening before. And so it's really cool because you never know who you can really make an impact with. And the crazy thing is, the more that you develop skills within yourself, the more that you'll be able to use those skills to help other people. It really is true that iron sharpens iron. So the more that we develop our story and our communication style, and we're able to kind of put ourselves out there and connect with people, what happens is we're able to help other people and they're able to help us. And that is just a really cool thing. So what could have been a potentially terrible disaster ended up being a moment where all of us were able to kind of connect with each other, help each other through some things that we were going through, help each other get to that next level that, we were trying to achieve. And that's what life is all about. That's the great thing about being a public speaker, is you get to have those kinds of experiences with people. She was so sweet. And then, afterwards, he ended up winning his fight. And so she was really excited to hear about that. And it was just a really nice opportunity to connect with people. So life on the road, it's ups, it's downs, it's twists and turns, it's things that you didn't expect, right? It's hotel pools and rental car upgrades and all the different things that can happen on the road. But the main thing is it's connecting with people. It's sharing your story, it's getting experiences, and it's sharing experiences to help other people, listening to other people's experiences to help ourselves. Now, I know we talk about this all the time, but if you feel like you have a story to share, if you feel like, man, I have a message, I want to connect with people, I've had some experiences, but I'm not sure how to put them together, then check out the Youth Speaker Blueprint. It'll help you sort out all of those things, guide you along the path that takes a lot of trial and error otherwise. So guys, share your story because your story matters. Have a great day. Bye.